Well, hello there. Are you ready for some tea? Some wedding tea? Well, it's Desiree here, and thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Allow me to set this down. Well, I am so excited to share this story with you, but before I begin, I want to thank everyone who has been following the wedding tea. This concept has been on my mind for years. It was actually supposed to be a book, but somehow it's turned into a YouTube channel, and I am so grateful to each and every person that tunes in on a weekly basis to hear that really did happen to me as a wedding planner. So thank you once again. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into this week's story. This one we're going to call When a Fuse Blows. When a Fuse Blows. Listen, this one is it's got a lot going on, which most of them do. So let's go ahead and get started with some background regarding the couple. They had hired the DE team for full planning, meaning we were going to work with them from start to finish, okay? And they were having their ceremony and reception at the same location. And to be specific, the ceremony as well as the cocktail hour and the reception were taking place in the same room. There was not going to be a flip. The couple was going to marry on the dance floor. There were going to be a few chairs on the dance floor for immediate family members, but most of the wedding guests were actually going to be sitting at their guest table. All right. And this couple, very lovely couple. Let me say that. All right. I had no issues. There were no signs, which is typical. There were no signs about any type of drama leading up to the wedding day. But there was one thing that was mentioned to me throughout the wedding planning process, and this was from the bride. She let me know that the groom's mom, she kind of had an issue with her, all right? I never dove into what the issue was, but there seemed to be some tension between these two ladies. I could kind of guess maybe mama didn't want girlfriend to marry her son, or there might have been some words said between them throughout the planning process or throughout the entire relationship. I have no idea, but I do remember on a few occasions that the bride did let me know she had some problems with the mom, all right? I had not met the mom, but I'm thinking this isn't going to be an issue. Again, I was a newer planner at this time. Had we done this wedding in 2024, I would have already known it was going to be some drama up front. Let's go ahead and get started with this story. The couple, as I shared with you all, they were a lovely couple. The wedding planning process pretty much went smoothly. They actually listened to what I had to say, being a professional and all. So let's jump ahead to wedding rehearsal. For the most part, there weren't really any issues. Pretty much all of the wedding party members showed up. Parents were there. The couple was there. The music was cued properly. Everyone listened. So I'm thinking we're going to be all good, right? When we get to the part of when I have concluded the rehearsal and I'm now speaking with the couple over to the side, some last minute things we needed to discuss, asking them for their wedding inventory so I could load that up in my vehicle. Mom comes over. Mom meaning the groom's mom. This was going to be the first opportunity I actually got to meet her and also see the interaction that she was going to have with the bride. Mom walks up. "Excuse me, I need to speak with my son." "Oh, okay, ma'am, no problem. Hello again, I'm Desiree, just wrapping up some things. Yeah, please, by all means, go ahead and speak with him." So she pulls him to the side. And the bride is standing next to me. She's looking at me, but she kind of ear hustling, trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm trying to move along with this. I need to get all of this information, all of this material, so I could go ahead and head home because we got a wedding the next day and I didn't want to be here all late. Bride is ear hustling. She says, "Desiree, you see what I'm talking about?" And I'm like, unsure what she's speaking about. She's like, "You do see what I'm talking about." I was like, "Well, please elaborate. What do you think's going on here? What's the problem?" She saw that you and I were talking and speaking with him, and she just needs to interject herself. She's been doing that throughout the entire wedding planning process. Also, when we're in our relationship and we're having some issues, he always runs to her. So anyways, I'm not gonna go into all of it, but she started to download basically how she was feeling about this woman. And my understanding is that the mom of the groom seemed to interject or insert herself into situations that she might not be needed, okay? Or giving her opinion where it was not asked. I think in this situation, nothing really took place, but the bride was already agitated, probably from some things that had happened in the past or possibly even that week. And she just became irate in that moment. But I'm like, hey, girl, don't worry about it. Tomorrow's going to be wonderful. Give me all of these things so you guys can go ahead to your wedding rehearsal dinner and I could do what I need to do. She's like, all right. So me and her continue to talk. The groom comes back over. He apologizes. He says, yeah, my mom needed to speak to me, so I need to step to the side and talk with her real quick. So let's pick up where we left off. We handle everything, no issues. Mom leaves, couple leaves, wedding party leaves. I'm thinking everything is going to be lovely tomorrow. Once again, that's what I get for thinking. We now come to wedding day, all right? And listen, this was a very hot July day, but thankfully, everything was going to be taking place indoors outside of the wedding photography. The couple wanted to make sure that they took some photographs outside on the beautiful golf grounds, but for the most part, I was going to be indoors with the air, enjoying the atmosphere, staying cool, as well as the couple, their wedding guests, and their wedding party, all right? So I go check on the bride because she had a bridal suite there. She was going to go ahead, get her hair and makeup, all of those things done. She had also brought in some food, some fruit, some champagne and juice for mimosas. The ladies were there. Everything seemed to be going well. The groom and his groomsmen were going to be arriving about an hour to an hour and a half before the actual wedding ceremony was to take place. And the parents, the family, they were going to be arriving about an hour before the ceremony because I didn't want to start late. Again, all of this is taking place in the same environment. I'm very good at creating a timeline, but I do like to start on time. But there's always some buffer built in, at least 20 to 30 minutes for those mishaps that might actually take place. Like I said, all is running well. All is running smoothly. I go check on the bride right before she's about to put her gown on. She seemed to be fine. I says, hey, you good? She's like, yeah, I'm good. I've had my drinks. You know, I'm doing all the things. She looked beautiful. Hair was done. I said, oh, you've had your drinks. I'm like, how many drinks? She says, oh, I've had a few mimosas. I'm like, okay, you feeling good. I'm an adult. She's an adult. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, but I'm like, okay, hey, let's slow down just a little bit so we can get moving with these photographs. She's like, oh, that's right. I'm good. I'm like, all right. You know, she's bubbly. Her energy is up there. I'm looking over and I'm hoping that this woman ate. All right. We'll come back to that part later. The groom arrives. All right. I go to the bride's room. I said, let the photographer know, hey, the groom is here. Photographer is going to come out. Go ahead and start taking some images of the groom. Groom says to me, Desiree, we might have to start a little late. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He was like, my mom is having some troubles with her dress. All right, no problem. I asked him, what time do you think she's going to be arriving? He was like, she's probably going to be about 15 minutes late. She lives a distance from here. She was now getting into her dress and she was going to be driving here fairly shortly. I was like, all right. I go to the bride. I let her know because she's looking at me like we're supposed to start on time, right? That's why they hired this planner. And I says, hey, we're going to be a little late, a little tardy, probably about 10, 15 minutes. And I had to let her know why. I was like, the groom's mom was having some issues with her gown and she's going to be a little tardy. The bride says to me, I don't give up. And yeah, I had to put the fists up literally because I was like, oh, is she ready to box? Bride was ready to have her ceremony on time, and trust and believe she didn't give a damn if this woman ever came. So I said, hey, hold on. Her whole demeanor changed. I said, what is wrong? She said she was doing too much last night. Last night? I'm thinking about rehearsal. But yeah, they had a rehearsal dinner after the wedding rehearsal. Something must have happened, some drama that I am not privileged to knowing, but I'm thinking it didn't go so well, and the bride is mad, and quite possibly the groom's mother is mad. So let's see how this day is going to move forward. I said, well, listen, the groom has said he doesn't want to start till his mom gets here, so are you cool with that? And she's like, so I walked up to the bride so we could have a little conversation. I just wanted to let her know that this 10 to 15 minutes is not going to throw the day off, and to remember the reason why she's here. You are going to marry your soulmate, your partner, your person. Don't let this ruin your day. She thanked me. I walked out of the room. I go to the groom. I'm like, all is well. I did ask him. I said, hey, has mom left yet? He was like, yeah, she's about to leave real soon. All right. I go into the location, into the ballroom where the ceremony was taking place to make sure everything was looking good and all was well. The DJ, though, has now just arrived. And when I tell y'all, the DJ came into the venue with the biggest speakers I had seen to date. All right. These speakers were huge. They were humongous. They look like speakers that you would use at a convention outside. And this man is bringing these very large speakers into this ballroom for the ceremony. I'm not sure what type of music he's going to play or who he is amplifying for, but he's going to blow all of our ears out if he sets up all of this equipment. So I asked the DJ, I said, for one, hey, thank you for, being here, getting set up, all those things. But do you need all of this? And the reason I asked that wasn't even from a perspective of it's going to be loud. I'm thinking about it aesthetically. All right. We have some beautiful flowers, beautiful centerpieces, our ceremony decor, all of those things. And we're going to have these massive black speakers in the room. So I had to ask the DJ, do you think just one speaker would suffice in this beautiful ballroom? He's like, oh, no, we good. We about to turn up. We about to have a party up in here. The groom told me to bring all my equipment so it can just be a party full of energy and all of those things. I'm ready. I'm like, okay, he says he's ready and I'm going to have to go with him. I'm not a DJ, so I got to trust he knows what he's doing. I lead a DJ. I finish doing what I need to be doing along with my assistant. Things are moving along smoothly. I go check on the groom about an hour before the start of the ceremony. And I said, hey, sir, is your mom en route? He was like, oh, yeah, she's on her way. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. I'm thinking, again, we're going to be 10 to 15 minutes off. I go in, I check on the bride. She's looking good. She's smiling. She's smiling real hard. But yeah, all is well, okay? I go back into the ballroom. DJ set up, all of those things. They've done a sound check. Yay. We should be starting this thing pretty much at the start time, right? Well, now it's time for this ceremony to begin. So I go ahead, I get the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, I partner them up. My assistant makes sure the bouquets look good. I let the bride know we're going to be starting soon. I go grab the groom. I've got the parents, and I noticed that his mom was not there yet. I said, hey, groom, where's your mom? I thought you said she was, en route and she was going to be here. Her ETA was at such and such time. He's like, oh, yeah, she's still on her way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, or what do you want to do? He's like, oh, we have to wait for my mom. I'm like, oh, dear God. Okay, all right. I told my wedding party, just park it. Just stay right here. I let my bride know things are going along the way they're supposed to. And the groom told me he was going to let me know when his mom was here. So in the meantime, I go back into the ballroom to let the groom know that we're going to be starting shortly, but to keep playing some music. And in that moment, oh, dear God, in that moment, I heard a pop. Tune in next week for some more wedding tea.